This is Mark from Waveform Training, and here's a quick tutorial on how to set up Voxengo Span in Ableton Live. So Span is an analyzer plugin. It's similar in functionality to the native Spectrum plugin in Ableton. However, it allows a couple of things which Spectrum cannot do. So basically it has 8 inputs, which allows you to compare, say, kick with a bass line or a kick with a snare, etc., etc. So really powerful stuff. There's several tutorials already online which cover this, but they feature one problem which I'll just show you now. So I've got a simple kick and bass pattern playing away. So you can see we're just seeing one current spectral analysis. So if I pan my kick left and my bass right, you can see they're separated into purple and blue displays. So while that's great for looking at the two vis-a-vis one another, it's not very practical for mixing purposes. So surely with Ableton's flexible routing, there's got to be a better way around this. And of course there is. So we'll run through that now, how to set it up. So we close down the span window just for a second. So we go to our span group and I'll just open that. So we can see we've got 8 tracks leading into the span track. So kick, bass, snare, percussion, pad, melody, vocal and harmony. So on the audio 2s you can see every one of them goes to span. They're all panned hard left and hard right. And then on the audio 2 at the bottom we've got track in 3 and 4 Voxengo, 5 and 6 Voxengo and 7 and 8 Voxengo. So also you can see that I've color coded everything so it's the same on the track. So purple is kick, dark blue is bass, light blue is snare, yellow is percussion. So these can be any color you want, just keep them consistent. So now you can see we've got our kick and bass playing along. We can see the overlap between the two, and also notice now everything's panned in the middle. We're working as normally, so we have the best of both worlds. So if we want to set up the routing, we just go to audio from, and in this case take from 808 and specify kick post effects. Just make sure it's not pre-effects or none of the actual EQing or whatever else you do in the track will be shown up in span. So just to point out a few extra little things, so we can see on the span track itself, this audio is sends only, and you can see the output there is in blue to denote that. So also on each track, so we can see that adjusting the level on the faders or even muting them will not affect them being sent to the analysis tracks. So they're basically two completely separate parts of our set, our actual mixing and our analysis section. So let's run through setting this up from the start. So first we'll have an audio track, we'll call it span, we'll drop an instance of span onto the track, we'll go to the routing section and we'll change these to A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. I sped this video up just for time purposes, so again go to group assignments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We can also do it on the output, although we don't really need it in this case, but just for consistency we will. You can also name the input channels and the group names, which also helps just for workflow and consistency. So kick, so that'd be snare, sorry that should be bass, snare, percussion, pad, melody, vocal and harmony. And we can do the same thing with the groups. So that's done, close those down. So now we just change our color coding to match that on the track. So I've got kick, purple, bass, dark blue, snare, light blue, percussion, yellow. These can be any color you want, whatever works for you, just make sure they're consistent. Then you can set up an underlay in each track, so that's how you compare one thing to another: kick with bass, snare with percussion, vocal with melody, etc., etc. So now we need to create our 8 tracks which are going to feed into Span. So we'll drag our Span track over to the right just for our own understanding. And we'll name them accordingly, so kick span, that should be bass span, so we go back there, bass span, snare span, percussion span, pad, melody, vocal, and harmony. After this, we'll set up the routing, so we go down to audio 2. So we choose span in every case. And then we pan each pair left and right hard, so 3 and 4 Voxengo Span, hard left and hard right. Next 5 and 6, left and right. And lastly 7 and 8, hard left and hard right. So to make things look neater when we're actually mixing, we can collapse all these tracks down. And we can just rename them analysis. So now they're grouped, we can close them down and it's hidden away nicely. And now we'll color code, so keeping the same color code we had in Span, so purple for kick, dark blue for bass, light blue for snare, percussion is yellow, pad pink, melody green, vocal red, and harmony white. So audio 2 is sends only, as we mentioned previously. So now just to show you the routing, we can just set up any instrument at all. Draw in a pattern, again, it could be anything at all, just to get audio routed through. Go to our analysis track, route it through, so you can see it's now showing up there, and we go to Span, make sure the routing's correct. And there we go.